the agenda for today's meeting is to understand their journey towards some of the university applications. So Arjun, right, a bit earlier, I mean, a few minutes ago, mentioned that he was thinking about going to Harvard, and Angad informed that he wanted to go to Purdue. So these two I know. I'm assuming Inaya is going to Stanford. That's the thing. Now, the way this will work is that first few minutes, I will ask the students to give a little talk, and then in the final section, we will open it up for the Q&A. So, Arjun, I'll start with you. First of all, congratulations, and it's a great feat indeed. Could you tell us a little bit more, Arjun, about your CV? Like, give the high points of your CV so that people understand what kind of background is needed for the Harvard caliber application.
So I think for me the main like my main focus in high school was on academics and like my in school classes. My I took IGCSE IB, so focusing on that was pretty important to me. And outside of school, it in math I was focused on three things mainly: Olympiads, research, and then courses. So in Olympiads, I started off with like the Thailand International Math Olympiad, the CIAMO, those types, and then eventually I moved to the national math circuits, so like the AMC, the UKMT, the SMC, and BMO, and then in India I did the IOQM, and I did that for around 2 to 3 years, and finally I was able to reach the BMO 2, which is like third level in the UK round, and I qualified for INMO as well. So that was my Olympiads, and then through that I also developed a focus on number theory and algebra, which I found very interesting. So I pursued that further through research. I started off with an internship I did, which then led me to work on fraud detection in mathematics using number theory. And so that was like research and applied math. And I also did a paper on category theory with a professor from Oxford. So that was kind of the pure math side of it. So I got to explore both sides, which was very helpful for me as well. And then the third part within math was courses. I took courses from a couple programs like Stanford ULO, the UPenn's MNTSI, there was the John Hopkins CTY, and a couple others, as well as some programs like taking Cheenta courses for Olympiads, going to some other programs in India. And yeah, I think that also helped build like an understanding of mathematics and its applications and like just understanding concepts. And outside of math and in extracurriculars, really, I'd say my main focus was on debating. That's something I've been doing for 3 to 4 years, and in that I've been done like debate with friends, join the school team, and then do a couple of national competitions as well.
Yeah, that's a fantastic overview. I do want to go a little bit backwards. So, first of all, are you an Indian citizen? Just for the audience to know.
I'm a OCI in yeah, I think yeah, basically Indian citizen.
Okay, and you stay in India?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said that you took IGCSE, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So one question that comes to mind is that you said that you did Olympiads, you said that you did research, internship. There's a lot of things happening. How much time did you get to attend the school? And did you really attend the school regularly? What are your scores in that and so on?
Like my school classes were the most important because I think both in your high school journey as well as if you're looking at colleges and all that, I think having a good foundation is the most important, and that is your in school academics, how you perform within the classroom. And so in ninth and 10th, I took 9 subjects and I got 9 A stars. And then in 11th and 12th, right now I'm in the IB program, and in that, I mean, you take 6 subjects. So I've been like working hard to try and get 7 on 7 in all my subjects up to now. So I think for me, yeah, I focused a lot on school. Like I didn't do that. Like I didn't do too many Olympiads. I made sure that school always came first, but I tried to balance.
Okay, that is really great. So, could you just give us a sense of how much time did you spend on the commute from your home to school, and then how much time did you spend in the school itself, like hours, kind of an average?
So I live around like 20 minutes from school. So it would be like 2 ways every day, around 35-40 minutes. And in school, I spent like I won't like leave early or anything. So I spent the full, let's say, 7 hours, and I had like a pretty decent attendance. Like I'd go whenever I leave.
That's really nice. So just I'm asking in this detail because we keep on telling our students that make the commute short and make sure to attend school, but people try to sometimes do the other way around. So I just wanted to understand from you. Okay, so that's great. So I wanted to understand a couple of other things before I go into the other students, Angad and Inaya, if she has joined. That at what stage of your school life did you like realize that you really like mathematics and you would start working hard toward these olympiads or research, because it's a heavy lifting, right? So at what point did you like realize this?
I think I've been interested in math since I was, in like fourth, fifth grade, I'd say. In that also I was trying to do some like competition and stuff. But then I think my like love for the subject really took off once I reached India. I think here I was able to do some like I mentioned the Thailand International Math Olympiad. I think a couple Olympiads like those were really interesting to me because they exposed me to like they were classified into different areas like number theory, combinatorics, algebra, geometry, and so that really piqued my interest, I guess, for the subject. And since then, I started off for the first, I'd say, 3 4 years till around ninth grade, just doing Olympiads and not much else. And then eventually, I decided to try like research internships and more like proof based and I guess like high level mathematical concepts.
Perfect. So I have one final question before I move on to Angad. Is there a like are you getting some sort of a funding option from Harvard, or are you able to fund it from the resources that you have? If you are comfortable sharing that, we could maybe shed some light, or if you want to make a general comment that how hard it is to get funding, because Harvard, I think, is need blind, right? So if you could say a little bit more on the funding side.
Yeah, so I mean, just as a general thing, I don't know exactly about Harvard's policy, but I know that they try to demonstrate, like they try to meet all your demonstrated financial need. So, like after you get admitted, there are options to apply for financial aid if you can show that you do need, like you require the finances. They will do their best to provide it to you. So I think in that way, it's a mixture. I'm not sure if they need blind, but I know that like either way, once you get in, they'll do their best to make sure to get you in, I guess. So that is a concern, but like for me the concern was always about like just focusing on trying to get into the places that I've always wanted to and then seeing from there.
Absolutely. So just to thank you for all that comment, I'll come back to you with questions from the audience. I wanted to once also mention a couple of things that since other Chinta students are in the Boston area, like MIT and stuff, you can always catch up with them. For example, Anushka Agarwal is there, who is really, really long time associate of Chinta. So you can talk to her. Maybe you know her already, right? Maybe you know her. Do you know?
I just check. I think I've heard the name once before. Yeah.
Oh, you heard the name. Okay. So she's in MIT. So you can have a real communication. And there are alumni in Harvard who have worked with Chinta before. So Aryan Kalia, if you need like that, we'll be very happy to assist.
Sure.
Right.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you. And let's go to Angad. So Angad, uh, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So I see that Inaya has also joined. So eventually I'll go to Inaya as well. Hello, Inaya. You can maybe get ready by switching on the video and all. So, okay. So, Angad, first of all, congratulations for getting into Purdue, Madison, some of the best places in the US. Could you tell us a bit more, Angad, about the highlights of your CV resume? Main highlights.
Okay, so for me, one of the biggest highlight I had was that I am a two-time national level athlete, and I have competed in single scull men's rowing. And single sculls basically means you are the only one who is in the boat at that time. That was the biggest highlight in my CV. Apart from that, I did not know much about Olympiads until I was in ninth or 10th. And I did try for them, but I couldn't succeed there. So in mathematics, my biggest, like what I could do the best was I did a lot of volunteer tutoring. I was involved with Chinta in their internships and their tutoring programs. And I was also part of the Sumon problem making, I was one of the problem makers. Apart from that, I also worked on some research papers. At the moment, I'm with in Chinta's research program. But when I was applying, also was working on another research project which I had worked on my own. It basically tried to link rowing with mathematics and what factors affect rowers. in academics, I was always a good student, I would say. I was in the CBSE board for entire of my high school and middle school. I always tried to get more than 90%, 92%. And what worked for me, I believe, was that I had a very unique background. Since my father is in army, we get to move every 2 to 3 years. So I had the opportunity to see different parts of India, experience different cultures, and I made sure I could get those points in my essays. I think the essays are very important for us, and I tried my best to make sure my entire personality is represented in those essays, whatever have I seen, whatever I have experienced. And yeah, I also gave the SAT and all those tests. I think I had 800 on mathematics out of 800. So that also, I believe, all these things, the essays, the letters, I got. Ashani sir wrote bunch of letters for me. Aritra sir of Cheenta, he also wrote letters. So those also made sure that I got into colleges like Madison, Purdue, and C State.
Excellent. Angad, thank you for that overview. It's really, really interesting that you have such a diverse and, I would say well-rounded background, because you were interested in mathematics, but you were interested in sports, which made you like a really interesting candidate, I would say. I wanted to understand a little bit more about, the beginning of your journey. So you said that around ninth grade, you understood that you like mathematics. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. So, and from that point, you try to go into Olympiads, you try to think about research problems. So, now that you're going to Purdue or whatever university you choose to go to, you mentioned before that you wanted to focus on analysis. That is one area of mathematics you like. So, could you tell me in brief that a student who is starting out with mathematics at the ninth grade, 10th grade, who has not been exposed to a ton of other stuff in the past, how can he or she, attack or I would say, approach the subject?
If we are talking about non-routine mathematics here, right?
Yes.
So basically, what I could realize from my own failures and experience is that you need to spend time with the problem. So, and you need to be very concise in this field because it's a very, very vast field. Like if we are talking about school maths, we have one book, we have one exam at the end, and that's it. You study from that book, you get good marks. But if you talk about non-routine math, there are many books, there are many within many topics which you have to master, and you have to first of all quantify what you want to achieve. So like if I'm in ninth, say I'm going for IOQM, I would just, for if this is my first day, I will just open the paper and just try to do as much as I can. I will try to solve as many problems as I can. I know I won't be able to do a lot, but after I have just understood what the exam asks me, what I'm supposed to solve at this level, then I will start by like going through big like introductory books. I think AOPS has some book, or there are many introductory books and programs. Chinta has quite a few introductory math programs. And then what matters after you get in those is that you stay consistent. So every day I'll make sure that I'm doing some problems in terms of math Olympiad. I'm doing at least 5 problems, 6 problems. I'm sitting there doing them. And that's it. You need to build a habit. But I have seen most students spend too much time on theory or too much time on reading the books rather than doing. So you need to do problems more, right? Then it's a problem solving contest at this level, at high school level. So yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
think that's a great, great point. I would spend one more minute with you before I move on to Inaya. Also wanted to understand the funding situation. So, can you make some comments on that?
I mostly applied to the public schools, and they don't usually give you aid. So I don't have any aid from Purdue, but Purdue also happens to be the cheapest public school. Like at that level, they have frozen
Okay.
their tuition for 13 years, so the tuition fees has stayed the same for past 13 years, and it's comparatively much cheaper than all other universities I got admitted. So
Can you give us a sort of a ballpark idea about the tuition and the living cost at Purdue in dollars?
okay. I think at the moment it is around 45,000 USD, 45 to 48, depending on your how you live, per year, and so that's
So,
like the upper limit. But it can go down to 42 or 40 also, depends on how you live. So around 40 to 48, I would
okay,
say.
so you're saying inclusive of the tuition fee and the food. Okay.
Yeah.
30 to 45,000 US dollars is needed. No aid, but the tuition fee is kind of frozen. So that's the situation. Okay. Thank you, Angad, for those comments. We will. And one last thing I would, super last thing I want to know. Were you regular at school, or What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, I did attend school and I was kind of regular to school as well. I believe school is quite important, so you should be regular.
Okay, okay, that's great. So no, you don't have to agree with me. I'm just saying your case. Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so let's go to Inaya. I'm Inaya. Are you there? Hello. Okay, if it's possible, kindly switch on the video. I can see you now. Okay, so thank you, Inaya, for joining in. So congratulations, first of all, for getting into Stanford and other universities, and it's a wonderful feat. So we are trying to understand a bit more about the background of the students who have gotten into these places. So could you tell us a bit more about the highlights of your CV, like what you think really were useful parts of the CV?
I think one of the most useful part for my CV was my involvement in floating solar. So Stanford was my first choice since day one, and I knew that they had been investing a lot in floating solar, which is basically solar panels on water, because since land is it's not abundant, right, and it's very expensive. So Stanford had been investing a lot on this, and they have a different school for sustainability, itself. So I knew that this might be a point which might make me stand out from other applicants. And an advantage that I had in this field was that my dad was one of the pioneers in this industry in India. So I did get a lot of help from him with that
It's
respect.
like a research project, research entrepreneurial kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did two research papers on this topic with IIT professors, and then I got a patent under my name for a floater. So and then I attended different conferences. I interviewed different seniors from the industry, and I think it all linked to my profile, because there was something that tied it all down. So it didn't look very spread out. That I didn't know what I was doing. And then when I had interviews with my universities, I showed my interest in this field, which made it believable, I guess, that I was really interested in it. For example, I had an interview with my with a Stanford alumni, and I think the interview went on for almost 2 hours, and it was quite a nice interview. Like he was really interested in this field as well. So I think it's very important make sure that your story is believable. And then I also did a number of Olympiads for both mathematics and sciences. I qualified for AIME also. So I did a bunch of Olympiads. I think I've done over like 2025 Olympiads over the past 4 years itself. And then I participated in a bunch of international competitions. I think that was also pretty important. And I made sure, those international competitions were around mathematics or, sciences, because that's what I was applying for at the end of the day. And another thing that I think was quite special was I did F1 in schools, where I went to nationals twice. So that also, because I was applying for engineering. So, building a car from scratch, at this age, I think also helped a lot, and going to nationals for that. And I think, yeah.
Okay, that is really interesting. This is a very different type of profile and fantastic stuff. So I just wanted to, before we go on to a lot of questions from the parents, because I'm sure they do have questions, I just wanted to understand that what board did you go to? Like the other two students, one of them IGCSE, one of them said CBSE. So did you, can you share that detail? Maybe parents will.
So until ninth grade, I was on CBSE Sanskriti school. After that, I changed to IGCSE, the British school, where I did my ninth and 10th grade. I gave my IGCSE boards, and now I'm currently doing the IB boards at the British school, and
Okay.
I'm having my boards in like 20-25 days.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you, Inaya, for those comments, and Angad and Arjun as well. So, by the way, if you're going to Stanford, you will probably also meet Anika. Anika, I don't know if you know her. She is an alumni of Cheenta and can also be bit of a support there. Okay. So I will now open the floor for questions. If you have questions, please raise your hand. There is a hand raise tool in Google Meet, and you can click on that and you can raise your hand, and then we can open the floor. Yeah. Vidyutha Varadarajan, please go ahead. So we can take a few questions, and then the remaining questions we can send it to the students. Okay, let's go to Vidyutha Varadarajan.
So how exactly do you start off preparing for like IOQM, like probably just from scratch? at during 10th grade. Any like advice on that?
So is it directed to any of the students or any
Anyone who has, I think Arjun
Arjun maybe did I okay.
done
I can
like
go ahead.
highlight.
Yeah, hi, sorry, I had to join from my phone because of
Yeah,
some
yeah, no
button.
problem. Yeah.
So, for me, I was always into like these more like MCQ based Olympiads. I think in IIQM, the main difference is that it's a lot more objective. You have to get the answer. So, I think the focus for me was like not on solving every question, but on choosing a select set of questions and like seeing how I could solve them to the maximum potential to make sure I got the correct answer. So, it can be a bit daunting to like see like, I think it was 24 questions and I was doing it, but just choosing like maybe 8 or 9 to start off with, doing those and just doing papers and slowly building up the amount of questions you can do within the time is very helpful. And aside from that, as for like resources, I think honestly just like doing papers really helps. Or like if you have any issues in a particular topic, buying some like buying a book on that topic. Like I bought a book on geometry by Hall and Stevens, which really helped me understand. So I think just knowing which areas you're strong at, which areas you need to work more on, and then focusing on learning those is pretty important.
Thank you.
Okay, that's a good response. I will go to Harshada Joshi for the next question. Harshada Joshi, did you want to ask a question? And unmute
Sorry.
yourself. Yeah,
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me now?
yeah, I can.
Okay. So my question is for Inaya and for other kids. I think Inaya probably was in CBSE before, and then she shifted to IGCSE, and now in IB. So does it make sense to be in IB all the time, or being in CBSE really help with future or whatever? That's my question.
To be honest, I shifted at quite an early age. I shifted in ninth grade when, eighth grade according to CBSE, when, IDCSE hadn't really started. So I felt that CBSE had its own advantages that really helped me with my IDCSE and IB, because my mathematics was pretty strong because of, all the CBSE training that, I was in the higher level CBSE mathematics. We had a different class in Sanskriti. So I think it just how you study for it. It doesn't really make a difference.
Okay,
Okay, thank you. That was helpful.
great answer. Swati, you have a question? Please go ahead. Okay,
Yeah,
Shubhan.
sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I have a question for the students who had completed like high school also in CBSE. So along with CBSE, you have done that APs and all, or it was just Olympiads and all. Like, what was the combination along with CBSE to impress the other university, top university?
So I think Angad did CBSE. He can probably answer, but let's start with him.
Yeah, so I did not give the APs. Did give the SAT. But I believe APs are also important. Uh, they help to demonstrate your expertise in the field you want to study in. And you should give, if you're in CBSE, I believe you can give bunch of APs since the curriculum is somewhat same, the physics one and chemistry one. So, but SAT is more important. I think SAT is very important.
So,
Okay.
but along with CBSE, what all other things were there with you?
I had this. Are you talking about the subjects I had?
No, no, but basically, Olympiad winner or those all things were there. What exactly was there?
Oh, okay. So I was, for me, what worked was that I was a national level athlete and I had a very, I would say, a very diverse background. Since like I have spent quite a lot of time in different parts of India and I've seen quite many places. And that I made sure I could get that on my essays. And I had quite a lot of volunteer tutoring at Cheenta, bunch of research projects, some internships. I wasn't into Olympiads. I actually didn't know about them until it was quite late. So I didn't really focus there.
Okay, okay.
All right, let's go to Suparna Gupta. Unmute yourself. Thank you, Angad, for that response.
Yeah, hi. Sorry, this is her husband. The question I have is for Stanford, right? In terms of getting the scholarships at an undergrad level, I mean, is there any specific? I mean, there could be diverse set of combinations for the candidate's profile, right? But generally, what are they looking at in terms of when they decide to provide a full scholarship? What are the key takeaway? I mean, key factors that they look at in the candidate's profile? I mean, is it a set of specific exams that need to be taken and specific levels that need to be met in those exams? Or, I mean, is there something beyond it? It's purely a question from that angle. Yeah.
I didn't really apply for a scholarship, but I think for undergrad, you cannot apply for a scholarship after you got an admission, so you have to do it before. And of course, if you're applying for a scholarship, there are some disadvantages to your application, because they provide limited number of scholarships, and also there is no specific exam or anything you can give to get the scholarship. So you have to just have a strong profile overall, be a strong candidate. And I think at the end of the day, every applicant to Stanford would have a good SAT, would have a good IB score, a good IGCSE score, would have participated in a million of Olympiads. Your profile needs to stand out from the other people, for them to consider you worthy enough to give you a full scholarship, because that is quite a bit. I think Stanford per year is $90,000. So to be able to get a scholarship that's also full, you just need to be a strong applicant overall, and there's no specific set exams that you can give to attain that.
Thank you, Inaya,
Got
for
it.
that
Thank you.
comment. We can take a couple of more questions. So I will go to Raja Simha R.
Yeah. My question is related to if someone is starting now, right after the 10th grade, the preparation, right? Then they have like Olympiads and then some research projects to do, SAT, and then they need to attend the regular school homeworks. I just wanted to find out from the successful candidates, how did they manage, or a new one who is starting now, how to manage? Is it like asking too much from the students, or is it all manageable? I just wanted to know the feedback.
Okay, so actually, I touched upon this question at the very beginning of this session. I will quickly go to Arjun again because I asked him this question. Arjun, are you still there? Can you respond?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it can become a bit like tiring if you do too many Olympiads or do too much of one thing. So I think the best way to do it is to only focus on things that you genuinely enjoy doing. Like if you really actually like doing Olympiads, you find that interesting, then do it. So for me, I found it to be a very interesting process, like look at a problem and solve it. So that's what is a logical path for me. I think if you do something that you genuinely like, then it becomes less of a task or a chore and more something that you can do for hours on end and not feel bored. But I think that being said, another important thing is to like pace yourself. So I know there were times when I was doing like 8 different Olympiads in a week, and that became like quite taxing. So I think it's important to just focus on, like, you can start off with doing a bunch of Olympiads, but in by ninth, 10th, 11th, when academic pressure gets more, to just focus on like national level Olympiads. I think like the IOQMs and like the SMCs. Even if it's just like the first level, just focusing on those big Olympiads, which are very good for developing your mathematical skills and also recognized, is important in like prioritizing what to do.
Thank you for that answer. So we don't have much more time today, but I do appreciate all the questions and all the responses that we are getting. If you have more questions regarding these processes, feel free to email us at this ID, and we will forward this to the kids, and they can probably respond at their time. Thank you, Arjun, Angad, and Inaya, for your time as well. We hope to be useful in your upcoming years of academic journey through internships and other opportunities that we might be able to point you at. And for today, we stop out here. Thank you all again. I'll stop recording and end the call. Okay, bye.